Dude, hit my X. Make sure I hit that like, hit that sub, show your boy some love. So I was on Tiki TV yesterday, cooking up with the homie True the King, man. Uh, and shout out to the LDBC, man. All my brothers, man. I love cooking up with y'all boys. Sorry, True the King, I had to get you yesterday. You was cooking too much. I had to come in and get you, man. You know it's all love over here, man. But we was talking about the Suns, man. We don't get no respect, rightfully so, you know. And there's a reason why we don't get respect, because we've been so sorry for so long. And I don't think a lot of people understand why we're in the position that we are now, or that we were in. We're in a better position than we were last year, but we're still not where we should be. And it's mainly because of these transactions that went down from 2013 to about, I want to say 2017, 2018. Like, throughout that span, that 5 to 6 year span of time, made a lot of bad trades that really fucked our roster up. And I want to break down some of those moves. I'm not going to go through all of them. You know, like I said, man, for Suns fans, this is going to be hard to watch, trust me. It's going to be hard to watch, and I don't want to make this video too long. But as I was going through this, I was getting more and more mad. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that shit, man. It's heartbreaking, man, to see some of these trades, but we're going to break down some of these trades, and hopefully we can come to an understanding as to why, like I said, the Phoenix Suns have not been competitive. And when we're judging Devin Booker, we need to take this into effect, in my opinion. We're judging somebody like Devin Booker in his career, his first 5 years. You have to take the fact that he didn't have anybody around him to compete. And the Phoenix Suns did a poor job at bringing in talent and using some of those picks. But without further ado, let's go ahead and break it down. I don't want to waste too much time bloviating. Oh, shit, come on. See if shit froze up, man. Shit, look, I pulled up his name, the shit freeze up. All right. So his first move as a GM, he signed Jeff Hornacek. I didn't have a problem with Jeff Hornacek, you know. I was cool with it. I'm like, yeah, whatever, it is what it is. We need a head coach. I think we had just fired Lindsey Hunter. I can't remember that far back. Because we had fired Alvin Gentry before. I think we had Lindsey Hunter for a year or something like that. Somebody hit the comment section, remind me. I don't remember. But we signed Jeff Hornacek, right? Then we drafted Alex Len. I was opposed to that. I wanted us to either get Nerlens Noel or to trade down and get Giannis Antetokounmpo. I was hearing a lot about Giannis. I was hearing he was the next KD, and people were saying he was a risk. I didn't care. Like I said, we were in a bad position. You take risks when you're in a position like that. You can afford to. What's the worst thing that could happen? You get another high draft pick. And if you're trading down, you get assets for it. But, you know, what do I know? I'm not a GM. He knows better than me, right? So he selected Alex Len. Also traded to get Archie Goodwin. I like that move. I'm not going to lie to you. I was big on Archie Goodwin. Didn't really pan out well. But it is what it is. Can't be mad at that. Then they traded for Eric Bledsoe. Blockbuster trade. As you can see, we traded Jared Dudley. I'm not going to go through all the details. As you can see, we got Caron Butler, but he didn't play for Phoenix. I think we used him in a trade later on. But that's how J.J. Redick got to the Clippers. But then we traded Luis Scola for Gerald Green and Miles Plumlee. So as you can see, all these trades in the beginning, all these transactions in the beginning, is setting us up to be a good team. So you can see, like, damn, he's actually making good moves. I was good. I'm like, okay, we're getting better. I can see where you're going with this roster, right? Traded Shannon Brown and Gortat for Emeka Okafor. I didn't really like that trade. It's not really a good trade, in my opinion, but it is what it is. We had to get up off of Marcin Gortat. He wasn't performing too well for us. It is what it is. Signed Leandro Barbosa. Why, I don't know. But it is what it is. Drafted T.J. Warren. So nothing too out of the ordinary so far, right? We're still competitive. If I'm not mistaken, that year we had just barely missed the playoffs. So we were at the 14th pick because we had just barely missed the playoffs. Like, we literally were like a game out of the playoffs. Then they turned around and signed a trade for Isaiah Thomas. And that was the first red flag. Why do you sign Isaiah Thomas when you already have Eric Bledsoe on the contract, on the roster? You have Goran Dragic. That's a big red flag to me. That's a backbone move, you know? Sign PJ Tucker. I like that move. I was like, okay, solid move. Then they signed Eric Bledsoe to an extension. I mean, we already know they had to do that, but at the same time, you signed Eric Bledsoe after signing Isaiah Thomas. So now Goran Dragic is upset. So they make a few minor signings. Then they signed Zoran Dragic to keep Goran Dragic happy. So obviously, like I said, it's turmoil in the locker room. So like I said, man, they continue, and around January, early January, Goran Dragic requested a trade. So now we got to move our roster around. This is where it all starts to go downhill. January 15th. I'm not about to go through the details of it, but basically we went and traded for Reggie Bullock, who was a bum for us. Let's just be honest. He was a bum. I did not like that trade at the moment. I didn't see anything special in that guy. Don't know why everybody else does, but it is what it is. Then February 19th happened. We traded the homie Goran Dragic for Danny Granger, that 2017 first round pick that I think we traded later on, and the 2021 first round pick that I know we traded for Mikal Bridges. We used to trade for Mikal Bridges. So without this trade, we don't have Mikal Bridges. So I can't be mad. But at the same time, we kept Eric Bledsoe. We could have traded Eric Bledsoe and got the same fucking thing, in my opinion. You know? Like, why keep Eric Bledsoe if you're going to trade a point guard? You did? So basically, they got rid of Goran Dragic February 19th. Look at all these trades they did. They just went crazy this day. Then they turned around and traded a 2018 first round pick, Tyler Ennis, Miles Plumlee, for Brandon Knight, man. Brandon Knight, that's who y'all wanted to go get. So I'm thinking at this time, okay, we had 3-point guards, now we have 2. Maybe we'll be more balanced. Then y'all turn around and go get Brandon Knight. Another baboon move, right? Then they trade Isaiah Thomas. So it's like, come on, what the hell are y'all thinking? So you're telling me that Brandon Knight is better than Isaiah Thomas? So you give up Isaiah Thomas for Marcus Thornton. What do you see in these guys? Marcus Thornton, Reggie Bullock. What do you see in these guys? They don't pop off the page for me, man. Like, come on, man. Like I said, February 19th happened, and that brought us all the way downhill. That's when we started spiraling downhill. Earl Barron, Seth Curry, he didn't play a game for us. I think he was on the G League for us. You know? So at this point, we're tanking. We gave the season up. Like I said, we already knew what it was. It was a foregone conclusion. They were trying to get higher in the draft and wound up getting a 13th pick. We selected Devin Booker. Got Aaron Harrison in the second round that we traded for John Lure. If it hadn't been for us getting Devin Booker then, like let's say we would have selected Frank Kaminsky like they wanted. A lot of Suns fans was hollering for us to get Frank Kaminsky. Had we got Frank Kaminsky, imagine where the Phoenix Suns would be. Just imagine. With all these transactions they made, imagine where the Suns would be if we would have got Frank Kaminsky like everybody was saying we should do. Come on, man. Cut that out. You know. Then they signed Tyson Chandler, y'all. And here, get this. They signed Tyson Chandler so they could sign LaMarcus Aldridge. They wanted to lure LaMarcus Aldridge over there. And they knew that LaMarcus Aldridge liked Tyson Chandler. So they figured, oh, well, if we get Tyson Chandler, LaMarcus Aldridge is signed here. But they didn't factor in the fact that what if LaMarcus Aldridge doesn't want to play in Phoenix? What if he signed somewhere else? Right? And that's exactly what happened. He signed with the Spurs, And now we're stuck with an old big that's overpaid. You know? Another goofy move. Sign Sonny Weems to a contract. You did? Sign Brandon Knight to an extension, which we basically had to because we already gave up so much for him. Sign Mirza Teletovic. I like Mirza Teletovic. Don't get it twisted. That was my guy. That was my guy. I ain't gonna lie. Mirza Teletovic was my guy. He was strapped up. But he was inconsistent at times. But you let me know, right, when you see a name that pops off the page. I mean, Ronnie Price, he's a needle mover. Deontay Burton. Henry Sims. Come on now, Bryce Cotton. What are we talking about here? Then they fired Jeff Hornacek. I felt like that was a bad move. I didn't like the firing, but I understood it because our locker room was dysfunctional, you know. I skipped over that Marcus Morris trade. We traded Marcus Morris before we traded Markieff. Somewhere up here, I ain't gonna go back, but we traded him for a second-round pick, basically, which made no sense. Absolutely no sense. So Markieff upset. Now Markieff is upset. So we had to get rid of him. We traded him for DeJuan Blair and Chris Humphries. So we getting rid of all these talented players that we built throughout the course of the years. We're getting rid of all of them. He came in and immediately got rid of everybody, y'all. Everybody. He's bringing in guys like Chris Kardashian and DeJuan Blair. Legitimately. Phil Presley. Allen Williams, y'all. And I like Allen Williams. He a good dude, man. But he's not good on the court. Let's just be honest. Sign Earl Watson as the head coach, right? Then this happened, right? June 23rd, 2016, the Phoenix Suns made history in signing one of the worst draft picks in NBA history, Dragan Bender. And they didn't stop there. They didn't stop there, y'all. They also traded, right, up in the draft. So they traded Bogdan Bogdanovic, who they stole, in my opinion. I was high on Bogdan Bogdanovic. You know what I mean? We basically drafted and stashed him, so he was supposed to be ready to come back that year. And they traded him, right? They traded him, Skal Labissiere, and Georgios Papagiannis, and the 2020 second-round pick to the Kings for Marquise Chris. They gave up all that for a bona fide bum. Legitimately, you know? So now they signed Jared Dudley to a contract, y'all, for veteran experience, right? Signed Leandro Barbosa, re-signed him back, you know? Shaquille Harrison, I like Shaquille Harrison. Derrick Jones, as a rookie, he was a rookie there. He was basically signed to be they basically signed him for the dunk contest because he didn't play too much until like late in the season when we were tanking. That's when they gave him a little bit of minutes, and he basically was our dunk contest player. Basically, it is what it is. Like I said, man, Alec Brown, Grayson Baku, I don't even know these dudes' names, man. Then they traded P.J. Tucker for Jared Dudley. I can stop here. I think I've made my case, but we're going to keep going because it doesn't stop here. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't just stop here. You trade P.J. Tucker for Jared Sullinger. Enough is enough, right? He should have been fired then. Should have been fired then. You know? Then he drafted Josh Jackson. A lot of people said we were supposed to get Jason Tatum. I don't think you understand basketball because Jason Tatum was picked before Josh Jackson, but I was high on Jason Tatum. I actually wanted him in Phoenix, but I was cool with Josh Jackson. I said if we miss on Tatum, you get Josh Jackson. He did exactly that. Josh Jackson didn't pan out. It is what it is. I'm not mad at that. You know, Devon Reed, I'm like, look, at least they're trying to address a need. We need to fix our defense. So if you're gonna address that, I'm cool with it, you know? Cool with that. Sign Mike James to a contract. You know? Sign Allen Williams to a multi-year contract. Traded a second-round pick for Troy Daniels. That was a solid move. See, I could give you your roses when you make good moves. That was a good move. You know? But then you turn around, that same day, you backdoor that trade with Anthony Bennett. You signed Anthony Bennett to a contract. Now I understand he didn't play for us because I think he got hurt that year. Literally like a month or two later, he got hurt towards ACL. He was done. But you signed Anthony Bennett. What a joke. What kind of example are you setting for the Phoenix Suns? By signing a bust, a bum. Come on now. They extended, they picked up Alex Lynn's option. So that was pretty much his last year in Phoenix, right? They signed T.J. Warren to his contract that he's on now. Fired Earl Watson later on that season. I think we started off like 0-5 or 0-6 or something. We started off, no, 0-3. We started off, I mean, one of the worst seasons ever. One of the worst beginnings to the season ever in Phoenix Suns history. So we had to get rid of him. And appointed Jay Triano. I like Jay Triano too. I actually like Jay Triano. I feel like we should have kept him. Then they traded Eric Bledsoe for Greg Monroe, right? Greg Monroe and a couple of picks that haven't conveyed yet. So at this point, we already see the writings on the wall, right? Eric Bledsoe come out saying, "Oh, I don't want to be here." Listen, we don't want you here. Like I said, we gave you up for Greg Monroe. That should let you know what time it is. They signed Daniel House to a two-way. Signed Isaiah Cannon, y'all. Jared Vanderbilt, that second-round pick for Elfrid Payton trade, I actually like that trade as well. You know, I like that trade. That was actually a steal. But they didn't keep him. That's the thing. They didn't keep Elfrid Payton. They let him walk. You know, then they signed DeAndre Ayton, drafted Zaire Smith, and they traded Zaire Smith that day for Mikal Bridges. So that was actually a good day for him. I would give him his props on that. That was a good day for Ryan McDonough. Not gonna lie. He made a mistake in passing up on Luka. I don't feel like it was a mistake, to be honest, but in hindsight, it is a mistake. I ain't gonna lie. And he traded for Mikal Bridges, which was actually a steal. So I gotta give him his props. Salute to that dude. But then, look, like I said, you make a good move and you cancel it out with a bad, horrible move. Because you signed Trevor Ariza to a contract. I think it was like and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was like a 2-year, $30 million contract or something like that. Something dumb, man. Like, why would you sign this dude like that? What sense does that make? Their logic is we need veterans to offset all the young talent that we have on the team. That's their logic. But you got to understand, you need good veterans, not over-the-hill, washed-up veterans who don't really fit with the team and the culture. You know? This baboon moves. And after all this, Devin Booker still signed an extension. He still signed his Supermax, so he was really by his bread at that point. I got to salute Devin Booker because he stayed through all this shit. He said, you know what? I ain't tripping, you know. I'm a stick through. I'm going to keep it trill, and I'm going to sign the contract. Y'all need to do a better job at building around me. And he's always been vocal. Throughout that whole course of time, he's always been vocal in the fact that he wants to win. He's tired of missing the playoffs. So I got to give him his props. After he signed this contract, though, Ryan McDonough made a few moves. He got Rashawn Holmes. I like that move. I ain't going to lie to you. That Jared Dudley trade really doesn't matter because it's two bums. He traded a bum for a bum. He traded Marquise Chris, Brandon Knight for Ryan Anderson. So you trade two young players who really weren't, you know, holding too much on the cap for a bona fide bum who's overpaid, right? Like, dumb moves. Like I said, man, at this point, I didn't know if he was going to get fired or not. I'm like, when does this stop? When does this stop? And they finally fired him. So throughout that whole time, throughout his whole tenure, it was a roller coaster ride. For Suns fans, it was a roller coaster ride. And maybe he was a puppet, right? Maybe this was actually Robert Sarver who made all these moves. But at the end of the day, you got to get all of this smoke, homie, because your name is attached to this shit. And like I said, a lot of people bashed James Jones for some of his moves and some of his decisions, but to be honest, it actually panned out well for us. You know, James Jones came in and immediately got rid of Trevor Ariza, immediately got rid of Ryan Anderson, right? He traded Ryan Anderson for Tyler Johnson, who actually played for us at least. He traded Trevor Ariza for Kelly Oubre, who's a stud for us. You know, he's actually somebody who's a valuable asset. What else did he do? I'm trying to go off the head with it. He traded T.J. Warren for cash. You can't deny that. He traded him for cash, but that also freed up enough cap for us to get Ricky Rubio later. We were able to move down in the draft last year. We had the number 6 pick last year. We moved down to get Cam Johnson, and we also acquired Dario Saric. So when you factor in all those moves that James Jones did, every move he made benefited us, was actually impactful for us to be better, you know? So for everybody saying Devin Booker is a loser and blah, 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 this, all this shit, like I said, man, go check your history. You really got to check your history. Look at some of these rosters that he had around him, and you tell me, right, if your favorite player, or let's just say all-time greats, if they can compete with players like that. Not making any excuses, but like I said, we're acting like Devin Booker's in his 8th, 9th season. Devin Booker was a rookie he's basically in his fifth, 6th year. He's 23, 24 years old, man. I expect him to play better, yes. But let's not act like this dude ain't a young talent, a young stud. And let's not act like Phoenix the Phoenix Suns management didn't do a poor job putting talent around him. You know what I mean? Period, point blank. A lot of people didn't even know about Dragon Bender. Like I was in the chat one time on another channel, and we was talking about draft busts and shit. I said Dragon Bender. They were like, oh man, I forgot all about him. So y'all speak on players like Anthony Bennett, Kwame Brown, Sam Bowie, all-time bust, but nobody mentions Dragon Bender. I don't get it. You know what I mean? How can you forget somebody that abysmal, that piss poor? How can you forget him? I'll never forget him. You know? I'll never forget the day we drafted him. You know, over players like Jamal Murray, over players like, if you want to get a power forward, you get Domantas Sabonis. You reach, right? You could reach to get him. Jakob Poeltl, right? If you want to get it big, you can get Jakob Poeltl. So many draft mistakes the Phoenix Suns have made. So many bad contracts we signed and traded for that put us in the position we were in for years. And I got to take my hat off to James Jones, because so far so good. So far he's making leaps in the right direction. But that's all I got. Like I said, this video is longer than I expected it to be. But I had to break it down, man. Somebody asked me to break it down, and I had to go ahead and do that for y'all boys. So if you would, hit that like, hit that comment section. Let me know how you feel about this one. Hit man next. I'm out of here.